This is the application for the Reolink Solar Floodlight Camera. Here we could see on the Reolink app, when we first click into things, we have a snapshot of the camera view. It is currently not connected because this is a battery powered one, so it's not going to always be on. We have the ability to turn on and off the PIR sensor, again, without accessing the camera. We have a quick toggle for our settings, and then Reolink has changed things up a little bit here, giving us these extra icons in the lower left-hand corner, first being the battery percentage and if it's charging or not, and then these other two indicate specific statuses, which we'll get to when we get through to our camera. We're going to open things up right here, and this is our live view. Starting at the top right here, we have the name of the camera, the bit rate. To the right of that, we have our alarm. We can tap this and then trigger our alarm. And we're going to turn that off. Moving over from the right of that, we have our torch or our flashlight. This will actually turn on the lights. Now, again, it's a little brighter out, so you probably can't see it. So I'll throw something up here showing you what it looks like at night. What I do like about the torch is that it does get a little bit of blue in front of it, letting you know, hey, that this is actually turned on. To the right of that, this is our multi-camera view. Right now we're on our single, but I could select a 4-camera view. Right now I have a couple of cameras turned on. Maybe this one I don't want. I can select that and then change it to a different camera. But if I select the boxes up here, we can have quite a few in a single view. If you double tap, that will bring you back to the single view for the camera that you wanted. Next, we're gonna skip over the settings icon. We're gonna do that later. To the right of that, we have our 3 dots. This will allow us to change the day and night mode. So I can select this. Right now it is currently on auto. I can force it into black and white, and I can force it to stay in color. Coming back up, we have our immersive. This is showing you all of your cameras, or if I was in the single camera view, just the single camera, but it won't have any of the icons or interaction areas that you have. Selecting it one more time is my favorite feature, which is the picture-in-picture. So I can be doing other things on my phone while still being able to view my Reolink camera. And even though this is a battery-powered camera, it still lets you see that. Coming down, if I want to zoom in, I do have to pinch to zoom in order to do this, but you can see just how much detail you can see there. Yes, I realize it's a little dark and snowy, so some of the detail might be a little tricky to see. Double tapping, as you saw, will bring the camera back out to its full point. Coming down, we have our play pause. Since this is a battery powered camera, if we need to save on power, I can simply pause that while I'm looking around. Turn that back on. Next to that, we have our audio on and off. To the right of that, we have take a snapshot. That will take a still frame of anything that happens to be happening on the screen at that time. To the right of that, we have our record. This is going to record whatever this sees. So if there's something walking across, it will record it, and then you see it as saving it into my file location for later. To the right of that, we have clear and fluent, or high and low. That is going to be your visual through this camera. Make sure to turn that to high. Reolink does have a tendency to leave that on low, and I realize it's more for compatibility, but I like it on the higher setting. Next to that, we have full screen mode. Here you can see I'm going to show you what things look like when you change it to full screen mode. It changes the location of some of your icons, but all in all, you're still getting that same experience, just with a better view without having to pinch to zoom in. Coming down, we have our talk. If I select this, this is a tap to talk, but it is full duplex. So once it is turned on, people out there can have a conversation with you in real time without you having to hold down that button. To the right of our talk, this is our playback. Up at the top, you have the ability to change the playback speed. We're just going to give that a second to find something. You can change it to 0.25 only, no fast forwarding. You can delete the clip. You can select here to download the clip, and if you select to download, if this is a longer clip, you actually have these sizing handles which will allow you to pick what you want actually clipped, and then you hit download. Notice it says clear. It says clear because as we come back here, we have our play pause, our audio on and off, take a snapshot, record this as we would with the live if you didn't want to download everything, and then we have here clear or fluent. This is another place that is in the fluent or low setting. Make sure to come in here and change it to clear if you want your downloads to actually be in HD. You do have your change to full screen mode right there. And then coming down on the timeline, we have our playback, we have date, so I can pick a date, You can see it's got a dot. That lets me know that there was something that happened there. If I come over here, I can change that and select confirm. And you can see this has changed a little bit right here. If I come to the right of our date, we can change the view. So if we don't like this timeline view, we can kind of do this thumbnail view in which I can select, and then it will show me, hey, there was a deer right there. Now, one other thing might be tricky to see on the timeline, but right there, that's an alarm icon. If I wanted to, if I change that, and just to make this a little easier, I'm going to come down here to our filter in which we can search for specific things. Person, vehicle, animal, or just all other motion. I'm going to search for person and animal, and that will change the timeline. So right there, it says I didn't see anything on that date. Change the date once more and show you, here is the icon letting you know, here's a pet. So if I come here, pet, right there at the beginning, there's that flash, there's your pet icon. If I come over here, person, yeah, the white is popping up right there. There's like a white line. If I come here, try to find one where it's a little more like in the middle, but I don't think I'm gonna get that here. But there's a white line at the beginning, and then there's a white line at the end because that's the alarm. So that's letting you know that's turning on and off the LEDs if you had that set. But the filter makes it very good to go back and try and find something if you're looking for a specific event type. Those were our controls. Let's move up to our settings. We have our first option right here, which is information about the camera. A lot of sensitive things in there. Won't be showing you that, but it shows you the name, used space of the SD card that I've put in here, as well as its connection type, whether it's the hub or over Wi-Fi. Moving down, we have battery. If I select this, we can see it's at 85% and surprisingly still charging. We have battery mode, which is detection priority mode. We also have power saving mode, AI extended recording, which will record entire motion events with AI assistant, which will use higher power, or we can do a custom mode. And if I come into custom mode, I can customize, yes, turn the PIR sensor on or off, PIR trigger interval, can't lower that lower than 5 seconds, which I wish I could. And then camera recording, post-recording duration, meaning after an event has happened, 8 seconds all the way up to a minute. Or if we do auto, it will allow the camera to make those decisions for us. Coming back down, we can actually see the runtime. So running time over the last 4 weeks, we have all this lovely data of things that it has captured. And then you could also say stop calculation if for whatever reason you don't want that data. Don't see why you wouldn't want it because it is helpful to have. Moving down, we have our Wi-Fi. What is it connected to? Under that, we have display. If I select display, here we can see an active view of what's currently out there. I can select to flip this vertically. You can see right there, depending on how you have this mounted. Not recommended for this particular one, but it's there. Flip horizontal, which is simply left to right. So if you needed this in a different vantage point, that's how you could do it. You have stream, clear and fluent. Remember, this is high and low. If I select this, I do have a certain level of customization depending on what I want to click into. And then I can save it. Moving down, we have show motion box. If you turn this on, what this will do is put a blue box around a moving target, making them easier to watch through frame. Moving down, we have camera name. Where will it be located? Top, bottom, blah, blah, blah. You have lots of options there. And then just like camera name, you also have the date where it's located. In my case, I have it hidden for the time being. Logo watermark, that's gonna be your Reolink watermark right up there. We have our image settings. If I select this, I can adjust the brightness. So right now, this is looking a little dark. I can come in here into my image settings and say, brighten this up. And if I come back here, you're gonna see it's much brighter. Keep in mind, this is at the camera level and it's not based on your day-night settings. So if you level it to 203, as opposed to what it was originally at, that's gonna wash out your daytime view as well. Coming down, we have our anti-flicker. You have other 50 hertz, 60 hertz, or off completely. This is generally if you have LEDs and you are looking at LEDs probably from another country, you're gonna see an anti-flicker. That's how you can adjust that. Moving on, we have our day and night. Here, we have switch mode. I have it based on auto, which will switch depending on ambient light, but I can force it to stay in color mode, or I can force it to stay in black and white. Moving on, we have our color day mode, auto or manual, and this is where you can adjust highlights, shadows, just for your color day mode. You also have the ability to do that for your black and white and your color night mode. So if you're looking to fine tune how your picture looks that's how you do it. And I love the fact that Reolink gives you those options. Moving down, we have privacy mask. This will allow you to create a privacy mask. And what this will do is create a box that you can place. And what this will do is prevent in your recordings, in your live feed, anything from being able to be seen in the location of this box. That was all under display. Moving on to sounds. This is where you can turn on and off your record audio. This is off by default with Reolink cameras, so if you live in an area where you can record audio, make sure to turn that on. You have your audio volume and a sound test, which will play a sound, allowing you to test the actual loudness of your sound. Coming down, we have our light. We have status light. You can enable or close. Close is turn off. Some of the wording in the Reolink app, I wish they would update. We have our floodlight closed, which is where I currently have it on, meaning the floodlight stays off unless motion is detected. We have auto mode, which will automatically adapt the brightness based on ambient light. And then we have our always on at night. Not recommended considering this is a battery powered camera. We also have the ability to adjust the brightness to make this lower or higher, as well as our color temperature. If you want a warmer light versus a cooler light, you have that ability, which is again great for a battery. And I'm going to stress this, battery powered floodlight, not like the other floodlights from Reolink that I've been testing that are powered. This is all the controls that you're getting for a battery powered camera. And then our last option here is on off for live view, meaning these spotlights will automatically turn on when you access the live view. I don't necessarily need that, so I keep that in the off state. Coming back and down, we have our infrared light. You have close, which is turn off, or auto based on the ambient light, and then actual brightness for your IR lights. Again, I like the adjustability there. As we move down, we have our PIR motion sensor. You can turn this on or off. You're really gonna need this in order for it to function correctly. You have your detection sensitivity, and then you have an option to reduce false alarms if you're getting too many. But if you want, you can crank that all the way up, depending on where you have that. And then PIR sensor trigger interval, again, how many times it will notify you or actually go off. I wish they would let you do something lower than 5 seconds, but Reolink seems to be stuck on that. Coming down, we have detection alarm, and this will allow you to set up a detection alarm for individual things, such as person, such as vehicle, animal, and other. You might not realize this, but Reolink has actually altered some of these menus in that now, when you're looking at detection, when I look at detection alarm, I also have object size built right into this instead of being a separate location. And what object size is, we have two different types. We have a minimum and a maximum. So your maximum is your blue, and then your minimum is your orange, meaning things need to be bigger than or smaller than for this to actually trigger. And you can do this for each of the different types. And if there's specific things like person, I want higher level of detection. Car, not so much, because it is kind of looking at the road, but I really don't care about cars. Animals, I definitely want. And then we have other, which is pretty much all other motion. Now, what I skipped over is a non-detection zone. So if I come up to vehicle and I did a non-detection zone, this is my street over here. I could technically, and this will be a little easier to see here, could technically paint this area here, which is where the cars would come through, as a non-detection zone. So Reolink does that a little different in that you're not painting a detection zone, you're painting a non-trigger area. And that is all under our detections and alarms. As we move down, we have camera recording. Turn this on or off. You can have a motion recording schedule. So for me, it's on all the time for all these things. Now I can select, yeah, don't do that for vehicles, and then hit save. So it's great that they give you this level of customization. We also have our post-recording duration. You have auto, which will figure it out based on the movement type, or you can specify exactly what you want it to be. Moving down, we have our push notifications. Currently, I have this turned off, but if I turn this on, what this will do is send a notification to your device, just a text message kind of going across the top saying, hey, motion was detected or a person was detected. You can change your device ringtone. We have the ability to schedule this just like we could before. And then we have the ability to snooze alerts, which is great. So if you're going to go out and work in this area, I could say, yeah, for the next 2 hours, don't send me anything. So you could technically leave your push notifications on and still go and work and not get bombarded with notifications. Moving on, we have email alerts. This is the same thing as a push notification, except it would go to your email. You would have to set this up with an email address and extra information in order to do that. But I enjoy the fact that it is another option that I can use to get notified of things going on with my camera. Just under that, we have FTP. You could turn this on or off. This is for FTP services. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to strongly recommend that you stay out of here and keep that off. If you do play in that world, it's right there. It's great that it's there. Light alarm. If I select this, it is turn the lights on when motion is detected. And in this case, I just have it for person and animal. Don't care about cars. You have continuously flashing or stay on. I recommend stay on. This is more strobe-y. If you keep it on, you have the ability to have it stay on for 8 seconds, 15 seconds, or 30 seconds. That's about as much as they're going to let you do because this is a battery powered camera. You also have your brightness control right here, how we want that to work when it gets set off. We have our siren. I can turn this on or off and then select siren sound. You have your default sound, or you can create a custom sound simply by hitting the start button here, and you can see how long it actually gives you for a custom sound. Just about 5 seconds. There you go. It's now sending that data over to the camera, which will then allow me to use that as my custom sound. If I hit sound test, it will play this sound outside, and if I hit apply, it will say this is now the sound that I'm going to use. You have your pre-alarm sound, meaning it's going to give you a warning if somebody comes into the camera's area and hangs around for 3 seconds. Now you do have a sound test, which is currently going on since I tapped that outside, and you have the ability to schedule and then for what specific type. So if you don't want motion or vehicles, you could do that and that'll just be for people and pet, and then you hit save and it locks that all in. As we move down, we can see that this is linked to my Alexa, so I could bring up this feed on my Alexa supported device. Moving down, we then have share this device. We can select add a user, or up here, add a user, and we can allow management or admin control of this camera, or view only, and then an authorization end date if we want, and then remarks. This is well above and beyond what other camera manufacturers do when they share a device. Generally, it's just you can be an admin or you can just view it. This one, if you're going to be an admin, I can give you a specific date range that you're an admin, and then after that, nothing. Under that, we have time lapse. This is a nice feature to have where it will take time lapse of moving clouds, sunrise, sunset, construction, blooming, or custom, where you can set your start date, your duration, your interval, your quality, and then file type. I always like to point out, make sure if you're going to do this, keep the file type as video, unless you want hundreds of images that you will have to stitch together on your own. Moving down, we have file encryption. This is to set up an encryption code for the camera. That's going to give you extra protection for the videos that this is actually taking, meaning even if the device is stolen, the footage will not be accessible to a person. For those of you that need that extra level of protection, that's where you go to find it. Moving on, we have advanced. Right here, we have illegal lockout. I have this turned off, but what this will do is if somebody tries to log into the camera with the incorrect password one too many times, it will lock things up. We have change our device password, date and time. We have reboot the camera and restore the camera from this location, but we also have on this page right here, log out of this device and delete this device from my Reolink account. That has been everything that we can do for the Reolink Solar Floodlight in the Reolink app.